Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
I have been looking forward to our conversation because we met at a mutual friend's house.
Yep.
And y'all, I gotta tell my audience, like, I'm always on the hunt. Like, you don't know when you're gonna be invited onto the podcast because I'm like, oh, you're being co-parented, you were co-parented, you're co-parenting. Like,
Yeah. I was trying to think. I don't remember how it came up.
I don't know either, but you had a great story, and that's why I'm like, I want everyone to hear it.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that, please introduce yourself.
I'm Kassie Hollman. I am, I've been in Seattle for like 12-ish years. I work in healthcare administration.
Where are you from?
I grew up in Atlanta.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I want to go there.
So, trying to think what else. I don't know. My friends call me Dr. K. That's
Why do they call you that?
I have a doctorate in organizational change and leadership.
Oh,
I actually
wow.
do have a doctorate. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What do people do with that?
I just went back to school and got that about, I had graduation like this time last year.
Oh, wow.
So I just finished.
Awesome.
I love it because of change management and healthcare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of change.
Lots of changes.
All this country knows is change at this point.
Always changing. It's always going to be there and always got to adapt. So It's a perfect kind of mix for the two.
Yeah. Actually, Microsoft just created, because, I work at Microsoft too. They just created a whole new executive vice president role, which is, I think, about change. It's like corporate evolution and whatever. I don't remember. I read the email, I swear. But anyways, so many emails.
I flagged it. I'll come back.
We'll circle back. But okay. So you said you were co-parented.
Yes.
Tell me about that dynamic, like when it all started, all that.
I am the product of two lovely, amazing parents. My parents divorced when I was 9 years old. So my brother was like 15.
Okay.
I don't know. It's all I know, but I would say it's all I knew for a long time. As I got older, I didn't realize how lucky my situation was.
Okay, lucky. That's not what we usually hear.
Yeah. I think, I was like, I can remember like different parts of my life where I was like, man, I'm the only kid with divorced parents. And I kind of felt like I was the odd man out and stuff, but they were just really healthy about it. Like everything was always us first. I think one thing I really appreciate, my parents are always their own people. My mom is a very proud Delta. Okay. I know that, if I have a soccer game that competes with a Delta event, choices will be made.
Okay.
Sometimes I may win that one. Sometimes I may lose. It's okay. There's a lot of soccer games in the season. I get it. Like,
oh my gosh. You're not a Delta, are you?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Got it.
But same thing. My dad was an alpha, and choices had to be made at times.
Oh, gosh, that's awesome. Did they meet like?
My parents met at Howard.
Okay.
The Mecca.
Okay.
They met, I'm guessing, kind of undergrad. Yeah, because they each did grad school somewhere else. So,
am I allowed to say Like, am I allowed to?
I don't know. Like, I do it. I don't know if I'm supposed to. But
I wasn't like, sure because I get excited. I'm
yeah.
Like, I didn't have that experience.
I also feel like I got dragged to Howard's campus a lot, so I feel like I can.
I mean, you're like legacy or something.
Very fortunate. I played a soccer tournament in DC like every year, and somehow at some point in the tournament, I ended up at Howard. So
so you like soccer?
I played all the way through college.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Played a lot of soccer. I was a forward.
Oh, ooh. Okay. Yeah. You was moving.
I used to.
Okay.
Yeah, I miss those days.
I used to play lacrosse, but they always wanted me to be goalie, and I was good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not running that much. I'm trying to be fit out here. But
that's funny. My niece is actually playing lacrosse today. I was talking to my brother about it. Like, she's in some lacrosse clinic today.
That's amazing. Yeah. How old is she?
That one's 7. The oldest one is 9.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome. I know I want to get my son into lacrosse, but we'll see. I don't know where I would do that. But awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so you said you have an older brother.
Yep.
Did your brother experience the divorce any differently? Because you're speaking pretty positively.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, we actually were talking about it a couple weeks ago, just, telling him I was going to be doing this. Mm-hmm. And he was excited, and he kind of like, the same thing of like, we both knew that we were the priority as they like, I don't know, like it was just a very healthy, I never heard them complain about each other. Wow. I didn't even have the benefit of being able to complain about the other two each other, which was really annoying.
Hearing that.
Yeah, like it was like I could vent for so long, and then there's this like imaginary boundary that I would cross occasionally. And then they'd be like, nope, okay, you're done. Like, totally would redirect it. And I was like, man, this is not, I thought there'd be like some benefits to something. I was like, no, it was like they were still I don't know, they're still on the same page, just in different homes. Every once in a while you could catch them off guard, but yeah, I learned that apparently they do talk a lot, or they did. And, you know, I imagine just like coordinating things and different items, but like, I don't know, we just had kind of our routine. Like holidays, we had a pretty standard routine that like stayed for years until my mom left Atlanta, and then now my dad has passed. But we had some of the same like holiday Christmas. So like we would start at I remember it older now, but like we'd start at Christmas at my dad's house. We'd have mimosas. We'd have breakfast.
Wait, what age is this?
20-ish.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was like,
mimosas. Even when we were younger though, like, cause my brother was older, like they had mimosas. I had orange juice. Okay. But like, I just remember like we started at his house. We did Christmas with my dad. Mm-hmm. We usually like watch games or something, pause, and we'd go do Christmas again at my mom's house. Okay. And my mom had a like tradition of meeting up with a group of friends. And so like, to me, that was Christmas for like years. Oh, wow. And it was the same every time. They never lived more than 5 miles away from each other. Uh-huh. My mom stayed in the house that we grew up in. My dad moved into a townhome at first, and then when he remarried, he moved into another house, but they were still always close. Okay. And we could just bounce back and forth. I don't know what it was like for my brother, like in the beginning, but I know like by the time I was in high school and could drive, like it was not uncommon for me to call each house and ask what they were having for dinner. Okay. So Christmases were pretty normal. And then, yeah, as I got older, again, I don't know how my brother's experience was because he was already 15. A year later, he's 16, so he can drive and he can do what he wants, or, you know, has that level of freedom. I was 9, so I didn't have freedom for many years. But once I did, like, I remember, you know, I would call each house, figure out what they were having for dinner that night, and that's where I picked where I was going for dinner. Really? So it'd be like, mom would be like, I'm making hamburgers. And my stepmom or dad would be like, your stepmom's making catfish. I'm like, ooh, catfish wins every time. Oh my! So then I'd have dinner there. Mom didn't trip? No. It'll be leftovers or whatever, yeah. I mean, I would tell her, but like sometimes it was nice being able to just go back and forth. Never heard of it being an issue unless it was like, oh, I told you I was going to be there and that didn't show. Like then that was more of like, hey, when you make commitments, you need to commit. So it was like more of they could turn anything into a lesson. So I'm sure they were both on the same page with that as well. Wow, that is impeccable. Yeah. I'm jealous. I'm a little jealous. Yeah. I was like, my mom didn't cook, so like you had 2 houses just now. I did hear later my dad confessed that if we hadn't been over for a while, he would like ask my stepmom to make catfish and then send us a text. And then he knew we'd be come running. He knew it was up. That's hilarious. He's like, we're gonna get you all. Yeah. He was like, the kids haven't come by for a bit. I'm gonna fix this. Oh my God, catfish. Now I'm hungry. I love that. Okay, so you said stepmom. Like, what was that dynamic? Yeah. So yeah, I met my stepmom probably like when I was in 8th grade. I met her at a soccer tournament, just like for the first time. I didn't really understand the context at the time. And then she actually lived in D.C., so they were doing the long distance thing. How'd they meet? At a conference. Oh, I'll take it. I need to go to more conferences. Yeah, so I met her at a soccer tournament because, again, I played in D.C. several times. She came out to watch. Okay. And then they got married when I was a freshman in high school. I remember missing the basketball tournament, which I had some feelings about, but it's okay. Okay, very athletic. I love it. But yeah, I mean, I think, one of the things, I actually remember one of our first conversations, my stepmom was very clear of like, I am not replacing your mother. I want to be there to support you in the way, but she was like, I am not your mother. And, I'm a bratty, like 14, 15-year-old. I'm like, well, I'm glad you know. Yeah. I want to have to tell you later. Exactly. But no, there never came. I don't really ever remember there like being an occasion like that. Like there's a few times where she definitely was like, I don't want to have to tell your father, but you broke curfew or something like that. Okay. And I was like, why are you still up? Like, this is on you. Like, why are you still? You should be in bed. I was like, this is why we go here, because he falls asleep early. Like, why are you ruined it? Why are you still up? Like, it's not fun if you're going to be here all the time. But yeah, so I think, I think that was good. I think the other element of like, I think of like joint events, like graduations, like, it was never an ordeal for them to be in the same space. Awesome. Like it was, my college graduation, my dad and I started playing a game of how long could we walk away from the table without them even noticing that we weren't there anymore. Because they will just chat. And I think it's, again, of like, it's all about us. Like, it's not about the individual feelings. Like, it was always like, they show up to support each of us and whatever it is that we are going through or what we are doing. My dad has since passed, but I've had like graduation. Actually, even when my dad passed, my mom came. To the service. She was at the house with all of us. Like, it was all about like, and at that point it was very much of, I think my assumption, is my stepmom knew, was like, we want our mom. Like we just lost our father. We want our mom there. Nothing against her. It's just, we want our mom.
That's the father of her children. Like, God forbid when that day comes, like, exactly. I will totally be at my ex's because he raised my child.
Exactly. Anyway, so, So I was like, it's just, I don't know. It was kind of, I don't ever think there was ever any competition, or if there was, it's nothing we ever saw. I think it was maybe after my dad passed, or maybe like right before he lost a battle with cancer, and it was a pretty short battle. But I remember I was at my mom's. I was visiting her in Texas because she's now relocated to be closer to her family. And for some reason, I had her phone. And I don't know, I was just being nosy or totally not respecting her privacy. You choose whichever reason. I don't know. A little bit of both. Yeah, I don't know why.
Two things could be true. Yeah.
But like for some reason, I decided, I'm grown. Keep in mind, I'm like 30 plus. Like I'm grown. I do not need to be snooping in this woman's phone, but I chose to. That was an active decision on my part. She's not going to be happy when she hears this.
Oh, so she don't even know. Got it.
She still doesn't know. But I happened to find the text string with her and my dad.
Oh, wow. Oof.
And it was like kind of funny because it was like, it's not like they were like old friends keeping up and stuff, but it was like, you could tell like different times when they had text and they were talking about us.
Oh, wow.
So like, there was one for my dad talking about like, I guess he had just visited my brother or something. And he was like texting my mom of like, our son is your son's such an amazing father. Or like, it was like one of those kind of like, they're always complimenting each other of like different things that like we did. So it was, again, I was like, oh my God, they talk now still. I was like, we are grown. Like,
like they don't have to talk about like, who's picking up, who's dropping off. They're choosing to.
Yeah, and it wasn't a lot. It was like, again, I'm just being nosy, but I scrolled through and like, after like 4 scrolls, I'm 3 years back. So it's not like they talked a lot, but I just thought it was cool of like, just to see that, again, I have most of the years of watching our parents co-parent and, I probably had to deal with it more than my brother did because of just age difference. But I wouldn't even say deal with it. Like it was just a little bit more of my reality than it was for his. And, to see that like that was not just a thing to get through our 18s, like that was just how they were.
So because that is a true test of something. Like there's something there because I'm like, when you said look at my parents' text, when I looked at my parents' text, I'm like, if my son looked at our text right now, I don't know that he would be feeling those warm fuzzies right now. In the past, sure. Right now we're kind of navigating through some things, and so I don't know that I would want him. But that could be the measurement. Like, how are you co-parenting? If your children were to see your text exchange right now.
Be nosy, so yeah.
Yo.
Like I think of how many times you just hand the kid the phone or like entertain. Like I can wander into that.
My son's behind the camera. Don't plant that seed. Don't plant that seed. You don't want that.
I can't speak to it. They could have had those in the beginning, and I'm sure there were definitely times where it was like, get your child, she's driving me crazy. Like I'm sure there were both times when they were like, your child is crazy, and they pointed the fingers at each other the same way that like
that
siblings do it now. It's like your mama, your dad. I'm
exactly. See if your mama. One thing I was gonna say is like that pride though, because they're always gonna be connected, right? Yeah. And you've got nieces, nephews, or nieces.
I have nieces. Yeah.
Nieces. They're connected forever now through them, right? Like them coming together is bringing all these different lovely humans to the world, right? And so that pride, I understand that pride, even if there's misunderstandings or disagreements or whatever it is, me and my ex, when it comes to like our son's birthday, that's when we'll kind of give that little like yearly head nod, like we made it. We made another year. Look at him. He's alive still. We didn't kill each other. So hopefully
I feel like I caught those moments like my brother's wedding, watching the two of them just like beyond proud and just ecstatic of, you know, to see just like my brother just so in love. My sister-in-law was amazing. And they were just like so proud. Like they were just so excited. And I don't know. I feel like that was like each of our graduations and stuff. Like there was never anything like they could always be. It was never something I had to think about. Like I know my parents are divorced, obviously. Like it's not like I'm ignoring reality. I have a stepmom who is very supportive. God bless her. She came into an athletic family. She is not into athletics. She's not into athletics, but like again, she's knew like I don't know what their conversation is, but she knew very clearly that like we were the priority.
All right.
And she, you know, he has passed now, but even she references it, and she's like, she's come to events. Like she came to my graduation in California, and she was like, you know, I had like. It was important for her to be there, like just because my dad has passed, like that relationship and stuff is still there, and she still tries to come to events with my nieces and sees my brother and stuff. So like, I think you know we're very different personalities, but I think there's that like foundation that again I think my parents said of like we are the focus of this relationship, and I think to her best. I don't think anyone's can disagree with the fact that like she tries to show up in the way that she knows how to show up.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks different from
I was about to say,
others,
is there something in there?
It looks different from like my mom and stuff, but like it's her way, and I think.
And what way is that?
I'm pretty sure my mom thinks she can cure cancer with a hug. Like she's just a very loving, like sweet woman, and not that my stepmom isn't. They're just different people. So like you know when you have like. My mom's she's a motherly, like that's her thing. Like my stepmom, that, you know, she walked into a 14 and 21-year-old. Like,
yeah. It's a lot.
It's a different beast.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Like dating someone with kids is not for the easy. I've done it. It's not easy.
It's a great segue because I really liked that part of your story, where you said you've actually had an opportunity to play maybe a step role, or not play, but be a step parent.
Yeah, so I was in a relationship for 3-4 years with someone. She had a child, and it was very different from how I was raised.
Okay.
They definitely, you know, had their battles personally. They. You know,
your partner at the time.
My partner and their ex. Okay. So, you know, I think if anything, I think I related more to the child in the situation just because I'm like, oh, I've been there, but I couldn't understand. And that also probably made me not the greatest partner at times because I was like, I don't understand why this is an issue. Like, this feels really stupid that this is
a lot of the time it is. A lot of the time I feel like it is.
Like, I was like, I get it, but I'm also going like, I don't know. I struggled at times where like both actions, like my partner's actions at the times and my partner's ex's actions. Like there was definitely times where I was like, both of y'all just grow up and get over it. Like but I get it. I'm not in that situation. An outsider coming in, I only know the kid perspective. And as someone who grew up in that, I was like, yo.
This ain't it.
Yeah, this ain't it.
So give me an example. Like what was something that's like starkly different?
They had a very specific schedule. So my parents were split. If there was a schedule, it was not obvious to me. I just felt like we're just, you know, I was like, oh, you're going to go with your dad. So I'm like, okay. Like, seems easier. He's going to be at the soccer tournament. Like, it was just kind of like, it actually seemed like convenience opposed to like actual set days. But my ex had a set schedule. We had a pickup and drop off location.
Okay.
We did not go to the houses.
Like a third part, like a gas station, or
like we met at Dick's on 45th.
Does the kid just get out the car and go to the next?
And the rules were I was supposed to stay in the car. Only the kid gets out of the car. Like, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Is this court ordered?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sounds like it has some other stuff going on. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. That's unfortunate.
That was my understanding.
That is definitely the far end of the spectrum.
Yeah. And I think it was also, it was hard. Like I heard the kiddos say things that like no kid knows unless they've heard their parents say that. And to hear them say that to my partner was always hard because I'm like, yeah, one, I grew up in a very different household. I was like, you would never say that to an adult. And then to hear it and I'm going like, those aren't even your words. Like I know you didn't, that's not how you feel. You got those from someone else. Like you just could see, I'm like, this is not healthy. Like this is not good for anybody.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I got real good at holding my tongue for a while.
It's hard. Is that the advice you would give for like a partner coming into a co-parenting dynamic to like hold your tongue?
I don't know if it's the advice. I was like, the path that I took was I can support you. I can support my partner. It is not my role to get into the middle of it. It's not my role to speak on your behalf. Like no relationship can improve if I'm your mediary. So like you got to figure this out.
Right.
And I can like support you. I can like help you. I can prep you and all those things. But like I can't. You have to build that relationship with your ex. So.
And how did you know all? Those are great boundaries. How did you know that? Because I've had the experience where someone steps in and shouldn't be stepping in.
Yeah.
And like just crossing all kinds of boundaries. So like how did you know that?
I mean, I think part of it is also like I didn't want to get in it.
Okay.
So part of it was like, hey, yo, I ain't trying to get in this.
I respect the heck out of that.
Like I was like, this
protect your energy.
Yeah, because I was like, I know me. I know how annoyed I was getting watching how the kiddo felt. So I was like, I know that my instinct will be to then go tell somebody off on the kiddo's behalf. Right. And then I've now insured him. So, I will stay out of things. I'm really good at like, just watch and listen. But man, I know when I reach my level, I'm a little cutthroat and not so nice, and it wasn't gonna be good for anybody. So that didn't help. I will say, I did think of like my stepmom was, I think of like where I was, and my stepmom, like I was like, I am not your mother. I'm not trying to replace your mother and stuff. And I was like, it's, me trying to insert is not that. And I definitely let the kiddo kind of like determine the rate of our relationship too. So like, it was like, I think it was like something, I felt like my partner tried to like force a relationship in ways. And I was more of like, no, just let it happen because that's what I did. And that's kind of what I was hoping would happen. I mean, they're younger, so I could handle that. You may have to do a little bit different, but it was definitely like in my element of like, I care a lot about you. I want you to know that I'm always there. And I am still like, if she were to show up tomorrow and be like, Kassie, I need your help. I'm like, I got you. But I was not inserting myself in that drama because it was just not good.
Did their drama impact your relationship with your partner?
Yes.
Okay.
Significantly.
Would you have went forward with that relationship if you knew that there'd be all this co-parenting issues?
I mean, I think we didn't work for lots of other reasons. I don't think the co-parenting was I was like, I don't think the co-parenting was the thing, but I think it was definitely an element of like, it definitely played a role in our relationship dynamic that I think if I were to do it again, I think I just want to have more honest, open conversations up front.
Okay.
Like, I love kids. Like, that's not a thing. It was more of just, that was just not a good, healthy situation.
Right. And then to watch a kid, it's just so hard when you're powerless and you watch a kid going through something.
Yeah.
That is like probably the worst place to be, I think.
It's like, yo, kiddo, if you're out there, I'm still here.
Right. But also, here's my phone number.
Yeah.
999. So you're not in the relationship anymore? You're not seeing the...
No, we don't have any contact relationship anymore.
Okay. And what about, obviously, then you're not seeing the little one anymore?
Nope.
How is that?
It's been hard. I think there's a little part of me that feels, I don't want her to feel like another adult who came into her life and exited. I think I would think about that a lot, but I also know that it was not healthy for me to be in that situation. And I think of something of like, I don't know, I think of something like with my mom. I never talked to her about like why they got divorced or anything. But at one day,
you don't know?
No, I mean, I've heard different versions. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe unimportant, but just kind of, okay.
I guess I was like, I didn't change anything. So I'm just like,
facts.
you know. But I think the closest we came to a conversation about it is my mom saying something. I was just like, you know what? I think the both of us deserve to be happy and to be like in a loving relationship. And that just wasn't the one for us. And so, you know, it was so vague. And I'm going like, you know, me who like is not the best at asking follow-up questions. I'm like, not you, not for dad. Like, can you say what? No, I'm not. Never mind. I was like, I left it. I was like, God, I should have asked a follow-up question.
Oh, now you're always wondering. No.
I am, but no, it's fine. But I think of like, you know, I think that is something that I definitely learned from my mom. My mom has not remarried or, I don't know. If she was dating, she probably wouldn't tell us anyways.
Would love to unpack that, but we can move on.
But I think that I think it was important for her was like just knowing she was like, it's okay. Like relationships are hard.
Right.
And like, even when I've called her with like dating advice and stuff, like I can almost guarantee like the same few lines. Yeah. Like, so I was like, I know like I've asked my mom for relationship advice at times. And, you know, she just reminded her, she's like, relationships are work. It's a choice. Like, and you have to continue to make that choice over and over and over again. And also keep in mind of like, you don't have to make that choice. Like if you're not happy, like if you're, like, I think the thing I think of like, if you're not happy, then how are you showing up in the relationship?
Exactly.
Like, and so if you're not you, how can you show up for somebody else? And, I think going back to like my ex, like it definitely weighed on things. And I think that it was like probably the dynamic. I was like, I'm not happy in this. I was like, this is not working and this isn't, it's, I think we, just not a choice we needed to continue making.
Yeah.
It took different times to get to there.
Okay. Got it.
It's hard. I mean, that's a hard decision, especially the longer you go. But
and when you have a little kiddo in there too.
Yeah. And I think I weighed probably the kiddo a little bit more than like needed to.
Yeah. That's tough. But I like that you had that healthy like understanding of like, okay, but what do I need? I can't be living for someone else's
I mean,
needs.
I wasn't there immediately. Like, good therapist.
Okay. All right, great. Shout out to that therapist. Doing great work.
Yeah, we needed a little guide to help us get there. But once we got there, I was like, what am I doing?
Right. Why did I do that for so long? Yeah, I know why I did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. Did you feel, I was going to ask this, but I don't know if I will. I was going to ask like, did you feel some pressure from the fact that your parents were doing so well in the co-parenting to like make this work, but you weren't co-parenting? So.
Yeah. I don't think I really felt pressure. I think that, I mean, my stepmom is a great lifeline in that situation. I've definitely had to ask her. I've directed friends to her, and she's been happy to talk to them. Of like,
she want to be on the podcast. That's awesome.
She probably would.
Okay.
But like, I know like a really close friend of mine was dating a guy who had kids, and she was like, I don't know what I want to do. I didn't really want kids, and I was like, yeah, it kind of sounds like my stepmom. I was like, yeah, I'll call her. I was like, she can tell you way better than I can. I was I had one relationship to base this off of. She was with my dad for like 17 years before, like until he passed. So I'm like, it's a lot of time.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's
call
awesome.
her, don't call me.
I love that y'all have that relationship and the fact that you can even like put your friends in touch with her for advice on that relationship. Yeah. That says a lot. Yeah. Are there any parting words that you want to share with the co-parenting community or people who are being co-parented right now?
I mean, I think there are different models that work for everyone. Like, I can't say that, like, this is the way. I only know my one example.
Right.
But I think there's some, of other friends I know that have healthy co-parenting situations of, like, we all seem to have the same themes of, like, the relationship element was not really an important part of our lives. Okay. Like, I don't know what the relationship, in fact, I was like, I remember being confused when they were getting divorced. I was like, I've never even seen you fight. Now you're getting, I'm like, I'm so confused by this. But like, I think the thing was like, it was always, what always felt like was about us.
Okay.
And if those dynamics existed, which I can't imagine they didn't, we were shielded from it. And I think that was an important part.
Okay. That's a good takeaway. Like, not expecting perfection. It's not like there was some magical beings, although they sound amazing.
Yeah. Everyone's different. Like their personalities that work
shielding
for them,
is so important. I agree.
For all I know, they could have been at each other's throats in the basement every night when I was happily asleep at whatever house. I don't know. But I know when we were in public, when we were at soccer games, when any of those things, there was never a difference that I could really point to.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
I loved your story, and I know it's going to bless a lot of folks. And even me, I'm like taking some notes in my head. So appreciate you.
Happy to talk.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.